Hey guys, we've mentioned in previous videos about typhoons in Japan. We've made a couple of videos about typhoons in Japan, and we've also spoken on other videos about abunai, about danger in Japan and how danger is perceived in Japan. So if you put the two things together, the end result is that you'll find, if you spend time in Japan, you'll find that there is a lot of caution about typhoons. So when there's a typhoon about, so at the moment there's a typhoon about, well, we're in the center of Honshu, and it's down the bottom of Honshu, Okinawa direction, and all we're really getting here is there's a low through here at the moment. There's a trough through here at the moment, and we're getting the rain as a result. But as you can see, there's not much in the way of wind. There's a little bit of wind, but not much, and the rain's not really super heavy, not super dangerous. But there's a lot of stuff shut down around here at the moment. So people's homes, there's a lot of homes around here at the moment, their shutters down. People have closed their shutters. The actual center of the typhoon may never even come here. It's looking like it's going to pass to the north and not even come here, or if it does come here, it's likely not to be here for at least another 7 or 8 hours. And yet already people are closing down their shutters in their homes and on their shops and that sort of thing. But more importantly, and this is the reason we're making this video, is events and schools and all sorts of things shut down as well. So the schools actually have an automatic system where if they get certain warnings from the Weather Bureau, so if there's a typhoon warning current for this area, they send out via computer calls every student's house and tells everybody that not to come to school today because there's a typhoon warning out. Or if the kids are already at school, they might send them home. So the kids love it because the Weather Bureau is very conservative about these things and will make warnings really, really early. And it's quite possible that even though there's a typhoon warning out, that there's a good chance it won't even come close. And yet the kids will get the day off school, and quite often what that means is, and this happens quite often, is that they'll get sent home from school, or they'll get told that the phone will ring at their house and it'll say, don't come to school today, there's a typhoon warning. And the parents say to the kids, typhoon warning today, so you don't have to go to school. And they look out the window and it's blue sky and sunny. And that happens quite a lot. That happens quite a lot because as you guys who get hurricanes or typhoons or cyclones in your countries know, before and after those sort of events, usually the weather's really good. So that's what happens. So often before a typhoon comes, the weather's perfect. Or if you're outside the area of the typhoon, quite often the weather's perfect. And quite often after they've passed through, even if they don't touch you, quite often the weather's perfect as well. So it's really common. It's really common for kids to get the day off school and the weather's perfect. So they get on their bikes and go out and have some fun. So the kids love that. What it means to us though, if you come and spend sort of time in Japan, what you'll find happens is that all sorts of things will get cancelled, and usually public transport and so on, they're a little bit more brave, usually because they know that trains and buses and things are important, so they don't usually shut them down unless they really have to. So wind and rain is not enough to shut down the trains. It's only if the water starts to get serious, or if it really becomes imminently dangerous, then they'll shut down the trains and the buses. But usually they don't, so that's not a big problem. Only if the typhoon does actually come and it's doing some damage, then they'll shut them down. But yeah, usually they're okay. But what it'll happen is particularly social events. So you'll have a plan to do something at 8 o'clock at night, you know, a whole bunch of people are going to do something, and they'll call you at 10 o'clock in the morning and say, we can't, you know, have this party tonight because there's a and you look out the window and it's blue sky. And a good chance at 8 o'clock tonight it'll be good weather as well. But it's just that everybody's conservative about it. So companies are the same. You know, as I said, schools, but companies as well, and then privately people are the same as well. So if there's some social event planned, oh, there's a typhoon, we can't. But the typhoon could well be, you know, at the other end of Japan, and it could be really well good weather. But it's just overly conservative like that. So as we mentioned in previous videos, the real risk from the typhoons tends not to be from the wind. People tend not to get hurt by the wind from the typhoons. It tends to be local flooding and landslides. They seem to be the two things that cause the most damage to people. So, and usually that's up in the mountains, so the chances of actually being injured in a typhoon here is pretty remote. You know, the winds can get strong, but usually what we see there is people trying to use umbrellas in the wind. Inevitably, it's on the news, it'll be on the news tonight, that they'll have people walking down the street trying to use an umbrella in the typhoon. And of course the umbrellas turn inside out, and then they've got an inside out umbrella and they're walking down the street with it blowing up like a tree. It happens every time. We'll have, so we've showed you this before, tonight we'll have the people walking with their inside out umbrellas, you know, holding onto it, even though it's turned inside out and it's no good to them anymore, they're still holding onto it. And we'll have the weather reporter with his helmet on, standing out in the rain, talking about, usually in conditions like this, without much wind at all, but standing out in the rain with his helmet on, saying, yes, the typhoon's coming, you know, everybody be careful. So yeah, the point of this video was just, yes, you will, if you spend time in Japan when it's typhoon season, you will require lots of patience, because it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating where you can see that the weather's still fine, or it's, you know, I mean, at the moment we've got a little bit of wind, we've got a little bit of rain, but not much, but people will be cancelling stuff on you all over the place, and that can be frustrating if you're trying to get things done. And that reason, we hear it all the time when typhoon season, you know, you say, oh, sorry, we've got to cancel tonight because of a typhoon. It's like, oh, you know, because they're always around. In typhoon season, you know, it's quite common to have one, you know, have typhoons lurking around for weeks on end. And so if you're forever getting things cancelled because of the typhoon, and, you know, it's not even close. So some understanding and some patience is required on our part. Some understanding and patience, and yeah, sorry we have to cancel because of the typhoon. And you'll be really tempted to say, but it's blue sky. What are you talking about? But you can't. You just have to go, oh, okay, yes, abonne. Yes, it's dangerous, we'll have to stay home. So there it is. So yeah, the other thing is too, it means that we have to show understanding and patience, because it's just the way it is here. People are very cautious about this sort of thing, so we have to show understanding and patience. The other thing is too, don't be overly concerned if people start cancelling things and things start closing, and you see the neighbours' shutters start to come down on their houses and things. Don't be overly concerned. You know, it could be a bit scary for someone who's here, who just arrived here, and all of a sudden everybody starts disappearing. The typhoon's coming, and the shutters all come down. And you know, don't worry. It's just everybody being really cautious, and there's a good chance that all that'll happen is there'll be a little bit of wind, and a little bit of rain, and then it'll pass and be all over. And you know, and then even then, the interesting thing is, even after they pass, quite often the typhoon sort of skirts by and doesn't do you any harm. It's sort of like this for a while, and then the rain stops, then the blue sky comes out, and then it's all fine again. And you'll notice that the shutters are all still closed. So I guess people just forget to open them or something, and for the next 12 hours or 24 hours you'll still see shutters closed all over the place. So it's funny, it is unusual for people. You know, in Australia, I can remember riding home from school on a bicycle, you know, in cyclones, you know, big cyclones in Australia that are similar to typhoons, you know, trees being blown around, and riding our bikes home in the pouring rain and wind, and you know, unless it was actually blowing trees over on top of you, we didn't really worry about it too much. And I think a lot of other countries are the same. Unless it is imminently dangerous, you don't sort of worry about it too much. But here the danger level kicks in earlier, Anyway, I think we'll survive this one without too much risk. Hope you found that a little bit interesting. More videos coming soon.